This week we have a torpedo at Tsukuba. Chelsea decides to check out the scenery. And we get sent to the realm at Sardegna. Welcome back then to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2022. It's week 7, but before we get into the race details, how many days until Gran Turismo 7? Yes, that's right, there is 18. My race number, it's not long to go now. Just over 2 weeks until the fun begins on the new game and hopefully some wet weather appearing in the daily races. Let's see, but there's no wet weather here. We're in MX-5s, we're at Tsukuba. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 6 laps here at Tsukuba. It's a grid start with traction control not needed at the start, just foot to the floor and off you go. And we are on the sports hard tyres. Now this race is actually a really good race because the car is very grippy, it brakes very well. You can actually have some really good racing here. Timestamps are there for you, so if there's a particular part of this video and you're not watching the premiere, you can skip to that part of the video that you are particularly interested in terms of finding out the information you desire. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through the race, exactly what happened, as well as a lap guide to help you around this fantastic Japanese circuit. Here we are then at the start. Not really a hugely colourful grid. No white cars in there. I think white was a choice, but hey, Shelter's in there. Quite a few people in here actually. Little Nicky, we've got Verdu as well. Some good racing coming up. Brake balance on 0. And remember, traction control on 0 as well. It's just foot to the floor and off you go. So you can see that here. It's very grippy this. N100 Mazda MX-5 on sports hard tyres. Grip for days. So we're going to head towards turn 1 for the very first time then. And I was tempted to come over, but I thought maybe there's going to be an opportunity around the outside here. Shelty just into the back of little Nicky there. Just very hard in this turn 1 to have a purely clean race. Obviously, that was a mistake by Shelty. But it's all good. We love Shelty. We found Shelty here. And we're alongside Shelty now as well, heading towards the hairpin for the first time. So very easy to get this wrong and go way too deep. But the braking in this car is very good. And here, I just let off here. I did not want to go 3 wide into this right-hander. Verdu gives me space as well, so shout out to you. It's a brilliant week this week for racing. Honestly, you'll see some fantastic racing today as we head down towards the right hairpin then. And unfortunately, somebody has gone off there to the realms. And I think they avoided everybody there. And somebody else just span. Now, if they outbroke themselves and avoided, that is fair play. I might have to zoom in on that in the edit afterwards for you guys. But yeah, that's quite a crazy end to the first lap. But we're in P8 alongside P7, which is Shelty, of course. In towards this right-hander we go. We brake here because we are on the inside. Otherwise, I would not brake. I was learning this track on the fly. But through here we go. We're in 4th gear as well. We are in the wrong gear, as Shelty gives us a little bumper draft there. As we then go defensive in towards turn 1 then. And status quo for now with Shelty on our outside. You can really plant your foot. Notice here, we plant our foot. The car doesn't really oversteer. So this is giving us some good racing. You know, the more grip, the better the racing, especially with a slower car as well. You can really have some good races here, I think, as we go into this left-hander. Look at this side by side with Verdu. Verdu realizes I'm on the outside. Shout out to Verdu here. Some brilliant racing. As we head in towards this right-hander then Nicky gained a position. I followed suit then up into the cursed position. And we continue on with the racing. So far, this is a brilliant race. I enjoyed this like completely as we look down the inside. We wasn't actually going to go for the move there, but Little Nicky keeps the door open here. So I'm looking around the outside. Little Nicky going to have a better run off the corner though. Being on that outside line, obviously the radius of the corner has been reduced there. So it's going to be status quo. And I'm going to come into line now as we see side by side behind me Shelty and Verdu. And in we go here. I brake a little bit again. I was a little bit unsure. Little Nicky goes a little bit deep here. So I'm trying to maintain that speed. 73, 74 miles an hour really is the goal there. As once again, we're alongside Little Nicky. Look at this for some racing. Honestly, this was so fun to do. In towards turn 1 we go then. Still side by side with Little Nicky. This is superb racing. If you're wondering where my TCR account is, I will be racing on that tonight, actually. So after this video premieres, I've got a little meeting, and then I'm racing. As you can see here, we're still side by side with Little Nicky. Look at this for good racing. Little Nicky still on the inside. Then I'm going to have a better run out the corner, of course. And going to be on the inside for this right-hander. I think Little Nicky's giving this one up now. As we go into here, we have to lift a little bit. But through we go. Shelty looking on the inside of Little Nicky there. But we advance a bit further on then. And it looks like the Hunter there just outbrought themselves and tried to avoid Jay Rayuski. And they do indeed. So we're right behind the driver then here. And we're looking down the inside potentially. Although we're not really alongside to really go for this move. So I am going to back out of this because it just wasn't really on there. I wasn't really alongside. And we'll live to fight another day. And we have broke that gap behind a little bit. Through we go then. Lots of good sportsmanship in this race as well. You know, people avoiding collisions and all sorts. It's really awesome to see. As we go into a lap guide. I forgot, I'm not even checking where we are. Turn 1, you can brake really late here. So the dark soundproof fencing on the left-hand side. Literally, as the start of that hits the edge of your screen, you can brake. Take a wider line in. It's very easy to go quite tight. A wider line in will give you a good exit. I don't quite do the exit quite right here. But you can really gain good momentum out of that corner if you take a wider line. We're going to head towards the hairpin then, and we're actually going to brake really late again. We're actually using the curb here. Now, I'm braking a bit early because I'm right behind the driver, but you can brake at the end of the curb in here and make the corner quite nicely. Second gear for this corner, and we're going to go around again. Foot to the floor the minute you can accelerate through the corner, as we see the French driver off there in the distance. And then this corner, I'm literally just eyeballing it, and you could do it flat. I have to lift because I'm behind the driver, but you could do it flat through the corner, nice and easy. And if you think you're going to understeer off, just be brave and you will make it. Heading down towards the hairpin then here. I'm braking early again just because I'm behind somebody, but that lamppost on the right hand side, as that hits the edge of your screen, hit the brakes then. Don't hit them any earlier. As you see, I'm having to lift off the brakes because I broke so early into the corner. So we are catching the P2 driver here of Heiser Jules as we exit that corner then. Foot to the floor in the slipstream. What we're going to look for is our normal brake marker. However, we're not going to be braking for this next corner. So on the left-hand side, we have some dead grass there. And what we're going to do, we're going to just lift off and we're going to just allow the car to roll in. Now, you might want to dab the brake a tiny bit, but you can do it without dabbing the brake. So you let off, drop to third gear. I'm dabbing the brakes a little bit here, but stay at 74 miles an hour. Don't drop to 73 there. I could have done that at 74. And unfortunately, the driver head just ran a bit too wide there. We just tapped the rear. So unfortunately, we don't gain a position for now. Anyway, in towards the last lap we go. French driver runs it quite tight here. Oh, they look down the inside there. That's not going to quite work out there for Jay Razjuski. I'm going to call you Yuski for now. Just easier to say as we then head down towards the hairpin then. So we're looking right behind. Can we make a move? Not really close enough to go for that move. Remember, you're going to have to be really alongside to go for a move in these MX-5s because they brake so late. Again, nowhere to go there. Still behind the Yuski. I'm going to call you the Yuski now as through the right-hander we go. And we're still behind here. What can we do? So we're going to have a sneaky look down towards the hairpin. Not quite close enough here. In towards the braking zone we go. They outbrake themselves here. And they hit the French driver there. A bit of a push to pass here. They correct them. But I think you probably should give that position back, to be honest. Bit of a push to pass. Not sure whether there's any past history there or not, but we gain the position up into the podium then. P3, not too bad here at Tsukuba as we advance towards the end then, and that is how the race staged. So P3, I think this is a brilliant race. I think you can have some really, really good fun here, so do check it out. I think you can have some good side-by-side racing. One to try this week. Race A, not one I normally recommend. The exception is here. Let's head to race B then, where we have some more interesting racing. Welcome then to the Red Bull Ring for this race B, and we're in Group 4 machinery, so quite a common combo here in terms of its setup. Let's have a look at the race details straight off the bat then. We're racing 5 laps here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a rolling start. Do be careful if you're starting in the back, of course, because the last few positions you will need to do the last corner. And of course we are on the racing medium tyre, so that is the usual stuff here for race B. Now, Group 4, I kind of forgot about the RCZ when I was talking about it yesterday. The RCZ seems to be king here at the moment in terms of the time trial times. So that is the car I picked. And then we have a new livery as well from Mungino at Driver's Room. Shout out to you. I know you've done a lot of liveries. You put in so much effort, so thank you so much. And we're using some of the new designs, of course, for TCR, which I am racing on in a little bit, as I've already said. Without further ado then, let's jump to the race. Let's have a look exactly what happened. And yeah, you will have a lap guide as well, but it's the normal, usual brake markers here at Red Bull Ring. We are then at the start. So we've got Scirocco on pole. As I say, this is going to be FF dominated. We have TCR members here. We got JR_racing. We have Walter Mitty. And we have Benbow Baggins as well. I can't actually speak fast enough as that grid's going down. But shout out to you three using your TCR So I'll be using mine soon. We've got an Evo up ahead. I did think the four-wheel drive cars would be good here, but as you'll see in the race, they are not. And we've got Shelty and the Veyron behind. There is a Lamborghini in here as well, but we'll get to that shortly. So around the last corner we go, and because we're so far back, we're not going to go into a guide. We're just going to advance a bit further on to this near 3 wide, heading towards turn 2 then. In fact, we've got somebody on the outside there. Shelty coming in close behind as well. So through we go. It looks like we're going to get a position from the French driver here. Got little Nicky up ahead, and this is why you don't want to use a four-wheel drive car, because apparently they just cannot keep up with the Veyron. With the Veyron? Well, the RCZ is faster than the Veyron, and the Evo can't keep up with that. And yeah, I was saying this the other day actually to Joe on Assetto Corsa. It's quite amazing that an RCZ can gap a Veyron, isn't it, when you look at the bot? But there we go. So little Nicky still keeping that position on the outside, looking on the inside then for this left-hander. I'm going to try around the outside here. Little Nicky, always some good clean racing with Little Nicky as we go through here, still side by side as we head towards this next corner. And unfortunately, Little Nicky just going a bit tight there, slowing the car down a little bit too much, I'd say. Probably could have maybe kept side by side, but brilliant racing, Little Nicky, absolutely brilliant. We advance a bit further on then, and we're catching up to the Subaru, and I can't tell the Subaru's braking there. I really couldn't tell. I don't know whether you guys could, but yeah, it was a bit odd. But Charlie there going for the move down the inside into turn 1. He got stuck behind this Subaru, but again, this is why you don't want to use the Subaru then, because it just, yeah, it's just been left for dead really here with the RCZ. So in towards the braking zone we go, and we're going to get this stopped here nicely. So up into P11. Charlie runs a little bit deep there as we leave that corner then. Can we overtake Charlie? So the forward drive car obviously got a better exit there. Just gave us a little bit of a bumper draft, which is nice. And we're going to try it around the outside of Charlie. So shout out to Charlie here, by the way. We're going to have some fantastic racing with Charlie throughout this race. Really is a superb driver. We have some good fun here. But Charlie keeping that inside. And I just slowed it down a bit too much. I was expecting Charlie to go a little bit deep there. It didn't. Kept it very nice, clean. And Charlie going to go defensive then. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to try a cut back here. So Charlie goes a tiny bit too deep. There's just enough of an RCZ gap there. Charlie sees that as well. Beautiful awareness from Charlie as we look to get that position. And we do indeed. So we're having to really slow the car down a little bit here. Charlie just gives us a bit of a bumper draft there, just for trying to slow it down a little bit more. But through we go. Brilliant racing there with Charlie. And I can tell you now, it's not the last we're going to see of Charlie as we head towards this double right-hander then at the end of this lap. Now, what we are going to do as well is we're actually going to look at doing a lap guide. And you will see Charlie flashing his lights there. So Charlie, a pad player as well. Superb effort as we see somebody off in the background. Oh, it's Shelty off to the realms there. Not sure what Shelty was doing. Hey, we found him at least. So we're going to head towards turn 1. Brake markers, nice and easy here. 100-meter board. Try and get as close to that as you can, depending on car, of course. We can get quite close to it in the RCZ. And you don't want to go past it, because otherwise you'll just take too much entry speed and lose all the exit speed. But third gear, through you go. Make sure you stay on the red and white curbing, just to be safe there in terms of penalties. Lots of penalties can happen with turn 1, as you are very well aware. And you'll also see a little bit later on, there's lots of action up ahead. Hopefully we get involved in that shortly. Turn 2 then, we're looking once again for that 100-meter board. Get as close as you can to that. You want to take a wide line in an FF car, of course, because if you take a shallow line, you're going to be wheel spinning for days here. So second gear here, trying to clip the inside and then accelerate as best as we can there. Not the greatest of turns 2, but it's not the worst either as we're catching the Indian driver up ahead. Nice to see somebody from India here, Sunny Buff, in the Lamborghini as we head down towards this right-hander. Again, we're looking for that 100-meter board, trying to get as close as we can. The RCZ can brake late here. I think I do this corner this lap in the wrong gear. Should be third gear this corner, not second. But yeah, we're trying to get as close to the 100-meter board there. But yeah, I just go a little bit too deep, and that's why. So third gear is your best friend there. We leave that corner, and we carry on up the hill then. I did mention brake balance earlier, +3 in this. And 50-meter board this time for this left-hander, but not actually on it. You're braking just before it. So do be careful of that. If you go too deep, you're going to leave the gap wide open, and somebody could dive down your inside here as we then try and clip the apex. Now, I would do this in 4th gear, not 3rd. As you see, I'm already on the rev limiter. 4th will just stop wheel spin. Now, this corner, as you join the short track here, as that white line merges together, that is your brake marker here. Again, you can do this in 4th gear. Sometimes I'll do this in 1st, sometimes I'll do it in 4th. Here, I do it in 4th, as you can see. It just stops the wheel spin when you're in the higher gear, so it's always worthwhile doing rather than having to adjust your throttle. So I would recommend the higher gear always. Continue on then, and we're going to be braking Brighton and Bill here on the left-hand side, the Marshall post. We're braking right at them. Very easy to spot in their orange Marshall gear. And again, 4th gear for this corner. I think I might drop to 3rd here. I'm not too sure. No, I stay in 4th gear. It is 4th gear corner. And then as we head towards the last corner, the end of the Austrian flag on the left-hand side, the red, white, red there as it ends, and a bit of tarmac there. Try and get as close to that as you can. This corner is 3rd gear, as we are getting very close to Sonny then in this Lamborghini. So what can we do here then? How fast is the Lamborghini? Apparently not very fast, because we get such a run. You know I don't like going for the moves at turn 1, but we were so far ahead here, I just thought I'd better had here, really. There's no other choice. But in we go. We get it stopped nice and easy, and through we go. Nice bit of clean racing there with Sonny. Charlie also looking to capitalise then further back. So Charlie would have been right on our tail if we'd stayed behind the Lamborghini, and that's why it's sort of, do I go for it? Do I not go for it? And I decided to go for it this time. So heading down towards this turn then. Charlie looking down the inside here. Does get the car stopped. I do leave a bit of a gap there. And some good racing. But because we're on the outside line here, we should have got a faster exit. But the cone stopped us. We get slowed down by a cone. And up ahead, we've got 3 wide. So we're looking to try and get involved in that. But Charlie's still on my inside here. I say superb racing with Charlie. Charlie's going to be my driver of the day today for sure. So shout out to you, Charlie. Driver of the week, should I say. It really is superb racing with you. It really was. So we're coming up to this jam-packed battle here. We've got 2 TCR drivers, JR Racing and Benbow Baggins. I wasn't sure where to go here. Benbow sort of opens up the middle, but I didn't fancy it, so I just give JR a bit of a bumper draft, and then I let off here, and I want to give Benbow the inside. But Benbow has been very safe here and actually leaving space on the outside, so we saw ourselves down quite a lot here. Bit of bumper draft on the exit. But this allows Charlie to get a good bit of capitalization here and goes down the left-hand side and gets a slipstream off Benbow Baggins. As you see, a couple of penalties up ahead for that turn 1 running wide. Do be careful of that. So Charlie gets a position here down in towards this right-hand then. Good overtaking opportunity, but nowhere to go for us at the moment. So the exit, Benbow goes a bit wide here. Charlie gets a good run out of that corner. And we see the penalty for JR Racing. As we look then where we're going to go here. There's lots of places we could go. We can get slipstream on the right side. We'd look, but Charlie goes defensive here. Good bit of defensive driving. So we're going to try and go around the outside then. Try and capitalize on this. It looks like we are going to, but unfortunately Benbow just gets stuck in the gravel there. We give a bit of a bumper draft to get them going again, and we lose out on that position. Once again, a bit unfortunate there as we continue on in towards this left. Charlie on the inside of JR. A little bit of tap there, nothing major. They're still giving each other room. Beautiful racing then. Through we go, and it's both TCR drivers then side by side in towards the left. Slight tap there. Benbow just lets off a little bit here to let JR go, and we go around the outside. We capitalize on that situation and end up in the reverse curse. P9 then for us. Can we capitalize and overtake JR underscore Racing before the end then? Our fellow teammate here in TCR. If you are looking to join the team, by the way, do check out the description or the previous video, which will be at the end as well in terms of the revolution, because the revolution has very much begun here with TCR appearing in the daily races, as I say. But we finish at P9 then. And a shout out once again to the TCR drivers. Walter Mitty there, the highest TCR driver, but some good racing, and a shout out to Charlie as well. Superb racing with you. Very good racing. I look forward to racing you again. That's it for race B. You can have some good racing here. Let's head to race C and let's find out what we're dealing with. Welcome to Sardegna then for race C, and specifically it's the A layout, which means it is the super duper fast one. Lots of straights, lots of slipstream happening here, and as you can tell, we went in a powerful car. We're in the Mclaren F1. There's a few cars that you could take here. The GTR Fire just got into P1 in terms of the time trials just before the race started. The F-Type, the Corvette, there's a bit of strategy here as well. So there's a few cars you could take. Now, speaking of strategy, let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 10 laps here at Sardegna layout A. It's a rolling start, but nothing to really worry about on that last corner. And we're on the racing soft and medium tyres. Both are required. ×2 fuel, ×8 tyre wear. That's critical, and that's all you need to know. So there is some strategy here. I think some of the other cars, so I picked the McLaren F1 here because it's a fast car and you can do lots of overtakes. But some of the other cars can actually pit earlier and stay on the softer tyres for longer, like the Corvette, like the Jaguar, potentially the Aston Martin as well. So you might want to take those cars for the longer soft stint, or you might want to take this car to be able to overtake a lot of cars, as you'll see in the race. Once again, a shout out to Mungino from Driver's Room. They're doing both liveries this week. We are in a TCR livery here as well. It's not an official livery just yet. We're just going to be talking about liveries this week. And if you do want to join the team, as I say, check out the description. Check out the video at the end of this one, and then you can join up. It's nice and easy, and you could be a part of this team as well. The Revolution! Now, speaking of Revolution, let's get to the race then, and let's have a look at exactly what happens. Here we are then at the start. Flash away. We've got Aston Martin Corvette. We'll talk about car choice in a second. But TCR, Forza Elise. Hello. Shout out to you. Welcome to the team. I'm going to show some awesomely clean driving later on. You will see. And that is what TCR is all about. Brake balance is 0. I think I'm on -1 at the start of this race. But I'll put it to 0 later on because of the tyre wear. This car does like to use its tyres. That is for sure. Now remember, of course, I say it every single time, when there's tyre wear, there are tyre temps, so make sure you do a bit of weaving on the start-finish straight here, just to get a little bit of warmth into the tyres. It will help you in turn 1. Anyway, we advance a bit further on here in terms of the race to get into the thick of the action straight off the bat as we head down here. Now, this corner is very dangerous, and Little Nicky's going to go a little bit too deep here. Manages to stop the car, just gets out of the way as well. Superb sportsmanship there. We actually overtake somebody else as well. He's had a bit of an issue there, the German driver. So we're getting 2 positions there, but shout out to Little Nicky, showing what sportsmanship is all about there, getting out of the way after a mistake. So this is why I chose the McLaren F1, because it just goes flying past the AMG here. However, we get the braking slightly wrong. I forget I'm on medium tyres, not soft tyres. So we've got a little bit deep here, but we do keep it on circuit just. And Cyberman and PBA go straight through, so fair play to them. So in towards the hairpin we go again through the left-hander. And the Corvette just goes a bit slow on the exit here, but shout out to this driver as well, LVS _1986. They are superbly clean as well. We have so many clean drivers this week. It's awesome to see. It's so nice to be racing with clean people rather than dirty people. But honestly, beautiful. But we're back up into P15 then, as we see a yellow flag up ahead. Unfortunately, it's going to be somebody we don't want to see. It's Forza Elise spinning around, doing donuts there. Not sure what happened. As we see, there's a bit of action going on ahead. Well, that 3 wide. Magic's gone sideways there. They're 2 wide now. There's a Aston Martin oversteering everywhere. PBA stuck behind here, so we're going to go down the inside. A couple of people are going to pit this lap. I can tell you that much, and I'll talk about strategy in a second. But PBA around the outside then. Beautiful defensive move there, keeps that position. It's the move I'd probably recommend as well, because you have the inside for that right-hander. So at the moment it's status quo. I'm going to let off here. I'm not going to go for the move. Wouldn't like a move into this turn. It'd be quite dangerous and hard to really pull off. And really, the move is all about on the start, at the back straight here. It's not start finish straight at all, Tidge. But here you will see the difference between this car and other cars, because it just carries so much more speed than the other cars. So we're looking down the inside then of the AMG Mercedes with the Aston Martin up ahead, giving the AMG slipstream, and we're still overtaking this driver in towards the braking zone. We go, oops, sponsors forever ET. Oh, the Aston Martin into Cyberman then. A little bit of contact there, and we were 3 wide there for a second. Look at that. And we're going to get 2 positions then. Cyberman on the inside does the smart thing here, backs out of it at the last second then. And that is what you should do on that corner. You don't want to go too wide through there. It is very, very dangerous as we then head towards the braking zone. So I was thinking about pitting on lap 3, okay? Because I was like, okay, I'm stuck in traffic here. Oh, the Aston Martin gets all sorts sideways. Gives me room there. Does recover it very nicely. So I was thinking, should I pit here? But after that Aston Martin mistake, I was like, no, I'm going to stay out here. I've got a bit of clean air here. I could catch up to sponsors for ETA up ahead. And literally, that would give me just a free lap of clean air, because the tyre wear is still extreme. We're going to head over the crest of the hill then, down towards turn 1. And unfortunately for me, the Aston's just going to hit me from behind. And I nearly rear-end the Russian driver there. Fortunately, I don't. And a bit of a sketchy rejoin there from myself. But I was sort of stuck in the middle of no man's land here. And we're just going to stay towards the left-hand side, because we see the Aston going down the right. So we lose out on a whole load of positions there. Really annoying. They did apologise after for that mistake. And we did see earlier on, they were clean with me when they lost it. They gave me some space on the inside. So we'll take that apology. We'll move on with the race as we overtake the German then round the outside. You know, you can see why this car is very good. If you're doing last or first challenges or wanting to overtake cars, this is the car for you. I would say in the lower driver splits as well, this is the car for you. But as you're seeing here, everybody's coming in on lap 4. You could possibly go to lap 5 in this car, if I'm honest. You wouldn't lose out too much, as you see some of the early pit stoppers there. Forza Elise and Shelty really overtaking a lot of people with that strategy. Remember, Forza Elise was backwards when we passed them. So good little effort there from the TCR driver. So pit stop, 20 seconds. So you can't really do any 2 stops here. It's just a 1 stop as we look down the inside of LVS then in towards this left-hander. Remember what I said earlier, though. Being on that outside line is probably the better strategy here, because you are then on the inside here, but they give me lots of space on the exit. A shout out to you as well. You would be my driver of the week as well if I hadn't already given it to Charlie. But oh my word, superb racing from you as we come into this left-hander. And I will go through a lap guide shortly to explain how to do that corner that little bit better. So in we go here. Once again, we've got lots of sideways action. And, oh, Magic just gets a little bit of oversteer there. Touches the grass. I'm not sure whether the Aston tapped the Lamborghini driver there. I'm not too sure, but we're back up into P16 then. As through here we go. The Aston Martin here goes defensive, but I know I'm clean past here. Look at the speed difference here. Absolutely massive, as we're about to see somebody leave the pits there as well. So we're gaining a couple of positions then. Down in towards this left-hander. We brake just a bit earlier and we're on the soft tyres, so we're going to get this stopped. Nice and easy. And up ahead we have the TCR Forza Elise driver. What a legend you are. So I'm going to give you a bumper draft here, because why not? You're my teammate. In towards the left-hander we go then. And I'm looking to follow suit here. So I am on the inside there. And the Mercedes just goes a little bit wide there. Too wide, very sketchy, but there was no contact. We continue on. So up in to P13. Right behind TCR Forza Elise then in towards this right-hander. Then the left. Just be careful about clipping that inside barrier. You don't want to do that. The AMG does it very nicely indeed. Looking potentially down the inside, but gonna back out of it for now. Not quite got the overlap there. So shout out to PBA as well. Some good, awesome driving from the AMG driver here as we continue on to the start-finish straight then. And again, reason why I'm using this car, look at the speed difference that is about to happen here then with Forza Elise. Goes towards the right to break that slipstream, goes towards the left then, and literally we're just going to have a huge run. The hazards go on there. So initially I think they're giving me the position, but in towards this braking zone, the Corvette brakes very nicely indeed, gets it stopped beautifully and keeps that position. What a wonderful move that is. A shout out to you for that defensive move. That was brilliant stuff. So goes defensive again. We're showing you what TCR is all about here with this clean racing today. And we're going to try it round the outside in towards this right-hander. This is where I say it's better to be on the inside, but not this time. Forza Elise just had enough of an overlap there to really maintain that position. Beautiful stuff. Going to keep that position, but I know what's coming up here. We have the straight. In towards the left-hander we go then. And through there we go. And of course, it's slipstream time. 0.2 of a second. Watch the speed difference here between the Corvette and the McLaren F1 then. We go towards the right-hand side, and it's night and day. It's completely different. We're going to be clean past even before the braking zone here. That's how fast this car actually is. In towards the braking zone we go. And in towards the left-hand. Oh, the Lamborghini from nowhere comes in. Outbrakes themselves there, I would say. I'm not sure if they gave the position back there, but it looks like Forza Elise has got the position back. But we can't advance to lap 9 then. We've got Shelty and Cyberman here. And obviously, Shelty pitted the lap earlier. Cyberman had the issue earlier on with the Aston Martin driver. So through we go, and they're side by side here. So interestingly, we're in the same position Cyberman was earlier on, where Cyberman just had a bit of an overlap. But I'm going to let off here. I don't want to make it too wide here. It's very dangerous to do that. In we go in towards the left-hander, and Cyberman gets it all wrong, hits the barrier, and we hit Cyberman there. Nothing we could have done there, but they catch the car and we continue on. So a bit unfortunate there, but lap guide time. So heading towards turn 1 then. This is the thing you've been waiting for, some of you. Look for that orange painted barrier on the right hand side. It's just before the 100-meter board. That's what I would advise you use. You can use more of the curb than I use here, but just to be safe, I'd advise you not to, just in case you get a bit of oversteer. But we continue on through there, and this is all flat. Now, I'm going to give you 2 brake markers now for this next corner. So you are looking for that 50-meter board, but it's just after the 50-meter board. And what you can use is on the left-hand side, the grandstand's got that roofing. So as that end of the roofing hits the edge of your screen, you can use that as well. You do want to clip the inside curb here if you can. And you want to get as far left as you can to then have a nice line for this right-hander. I have no markers for that corner. I just eyeball it. So I can't really give you a marker this time round, unfortunately. Heading towards this left-hander then, we've got 2 brake markers. You're braking after the 50-meter board, but you want to try and get as close as you can to the billboard I've highlighted there. You can't brake on it, but try and get as close to it as you can as you go through time trial. Now, as you come through here, you're going to want to clip the curb there. Now, as that gap in the tree appears there's a gap. You can see it. That's when I want to put my foot to the floor, and I'm about to do it right now. It's just after halfway past the screen, and look at that. I easily make the corner. Remember the tyre wear as well, so in time trial, really can... The minute you see that, just go for it. Or the second you see it, should I say. So we're going to head up towards the hairpin then. A very dangerous corner, as we saw earlier on with little Nicky just out breaking themselves that tiny little bit. We're looking for the 100-meter board and trying to get as close to that as we can with the tyre wear at the moment. I'm obviously braking a bit before that. But if you can get as close as you can to that 100-meter board, that is where you are wanting to brake then. And second gear in the McLaren F1. You want to clip the curb again if you can. Be careful on accelerating there. See, Shelty gets oversteer. I get oversteer as well. So we're going to continue on then towards this fast right-hander. And you want to sort of get towards the inside, lift off if you need to. And at the end of that curve, you want to sort of dab the brake and turn in. Now, If your car's understeery, aim for the barrier. If it's not understeery, just don't aim for the barrier. But we're going to turn and try and aim for the barrier a little bit here. And we don't clip the curb enough there, so we lose a little bit of speed. But if you aim for the barrier and you understeer just off it, oh my word, the amount of speed you can carry is unbelievable. Last corner, 100-meter board, nice and easy. Second gear, be careful on exit for the oversteer. We saw that with the Aston Martin earlier on. Now, I'm going to talk about strategy as we head towards the line then. So Shelty pitted lap 3, I pitted lap 4. I would argue the McLaren could even pit on lap 5 and you would actually be fine. So doing the 5-5 split. So the other cars, the Corvette, the Jaguar, the Aston Martin, would be quite good for the earlier stops, and that's maybe how you want to jump traffic or maybe want to try something different. However, the McLaren F1 for pure speed is probably the go-to car in terms of overtaking people, so that is the one I would check out. But you can see it up at the top of the leaderboards there, the Vantage is doing very well, so was the Corvette. That is it for this week's races. I do hope you enjoyed it. There is 2 videos there if you want to check them out. My logo's there if you want to subscribe. Do give it a like on the way out, and I hope you do have a fantastic week, and hopefully see you in some daily races this evening or throughout the week. Thanks once again. Au revoir, farewell, and have a good week.